Ag Week Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Will the weather cooperate long enough for farmers to plant their acres? Here's John with our Agri-weather outlook.
As the calendar turns toward June, most people would say we're getting to the point where you can pretty much call it summer. Realistically, many areas, Northern Plains, Great Lakes, it's still kind of a spring weather pattern most years. But this year, it's actually looking like a more summertime weather pattern. Generally speaking, over the United States, we're seeing mostly warmer than average weather where it's cooler a little further north, and generally pretty seasonably warm weather across the south. And overall, I'm not seeing a lot of really well-organized heavy precipitation, at least over the next 2 weeks as we segue into the June months. Of course, the showers and thunderstorms take over from the general rain systems when you get into warmer weather. And everything really depends on the jet stream. With the jet stream generally remaining along the U.S.-Canadian border this week, we're going to keep most of the U.S. pretty warm. Snow's melting pretty rapidly in the Rockies. Most of the really cool air is limited to the higher elevations. Florida, Texas, and the desert southwest, the Mojave Desert, are the areas that are notably hot this week with a lot of weather in the 90s. Most of the United States here will be in the 70s and 80s, just fairly comfortable spring weather, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. The jet will meander a bit. There's a little branch of the polar jet stream coming around and keeping kind of encircling the Hudson Bay region and keeping some pretty cool weather up in that territory. But we're seeing this is really the last little vestige of what had been a giant wedge of cold air dominating the Great Lakes and the Northern Plains throughout so much of February, March, and April. So that pattern is still there. It's just retreated with the sun, and we're being left with seasonal to slightly warmer than average weather this week. Toward the weekend, there will be a little bit of troughing in the jet stream over the northern Rockies, Pacific Northwest. That will likely bring a couple of rounds of thunderstorms into the northern plains. I don't expect to see widespread heavy rain unless one complex of storms really gets going. Hot weather, generally dry except for some showery weather down along the Gulf Coast in Florida, will persist in the south, and really most of the Midwest will be just slightly warmer than average. As far as precipitation goes, heading into Memorial Day weekend, the week coming up, a few scattered areas of showers, thunder showers, maybe some thunderstorms from central Canada down into Texas. For the most part, I would not describe this as wetter than average, just a chance for some rain, and showers will be fairly limited in the eastern United States, and frankly, most of the west looks like it will be dry this last full week of May. And as the calendar turns to June, not a lot of change. I think the Gulf will start heating up, and you'll get some Gulf of Mexico showers and thunderstorms from the sea breeze front, and the central and northern plains still a little showery at times.